Okay, it is 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Thursday, August the 13th, and welcome to Introduction to Business Law, or Business Law, as it's called, B234. My name is Richard Wright, and you should already know who I am because I sent you an email. I posted in the student lounge information about myself. And well, tonight, I'm going to talk to you primarily about the expectations for the course and be able to share a few things I've already seen in a couple of emails from a few students, at least one student, that they need to learn about APA. And so we're going to make sure that we provide information about APA tonight and letting you know that you'll be able to um, get that information through um, the course homepage. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and let's go to the course homepage. There we go. And you will see whenever you open this page up, one of the first things that you'll see is the information at the top. You'll see the course calendar link and resources, which I'll be sharing with you. But one of the first things I want you to note and pay attention to, because it's not a misnomer, it means exactly what it says. It says my name, and it gives a phone number, 630-660-8480. This is it right here. If you were to dial it, it would ring, but it's on silent during the lecture. But that's how you can reach me by phone best. Um, there is another number in the student lounge, but that's my desk. But it sends a message to me also. But if you're going to text me, as I'm telling you here, you can feel free to call me, text me, or email me any hour of the day except the 25th hour of the day. Now, that means what it says. If you try to do that the 25th hour of the day, you won't get me. Matter of fact, I won't get your message. Then the next question I want to know is, how did you do that? And so it's like an impossibility to get to the 25th hour of the day because you guys already know how many hours there are in a day. So what that means is that I'm available to help. And I tell you that if you call me, please leave a voice message. I will get back to you pretty fast. If you text me, please do me a favor, include your name, include the course that you're in, and the issue that you need addressed. And oftentimes, rather than me texting you back, I will call you back. Um, and sometimes you're at work, but that's okay. Sometimes we can talk. Other than that, um, I like to talk to my students, and I don't get a chance to talk to you guys because you guys are all over the country. I got over 30 something students in this course. I teach two other courses. I primarily teach criminal justice, but having been a lawyer and went to law school, and I worked in corporate law as well years and years and years ago. And I'm very familiar with contracts. I did do some, um, well, work with people with real estate. I did represent some athletes, entertainers, and other individuals in businesses setting up corporations and all those things. So I know a whole lot about business law as well. but my primary area is criminal justice, and many students know me real well from that. And you'll find out when I was hired at Rasmussen that the business law course was the first course that I taught there, but it was residential rather than online. That was in October 2011. That was 9 years ago. So I bring to you some special things that are going to help you understand some of the principles, something that I learned a long time ago when I took the bar exam, which was in 1978. So that was a long time ago. And so I'm going to share with you some things that'll help you in business law that I learned even from the bar. We're not going to turn you into lawyers. I'm really just going to give you what they call a working knowledge of what the laws are to a point. Remember, we're only going to be together 5.5 weeks, not quite 6 weeks. So we won't be covering everything. All right. So now that I've said that, so feel free to reach out to me with your issues, your problems. Don't hesitate. Some students say, well, I didn't want to reach you real late. It says you can. Sometimes I'm up. If not, I will get the message. And sometimes I get up at night and then I'll call even that night or early in the morning. So the other thing is APA is very important. You're going to learn about APA in this school if you have not already. It involves how we cite our sources in the body of the paper as citations. And it's very important. You'll hear in a few minutes when I do this academic integrity video about APA. And then there's resources that I have on my course homepage that will help you. But APA is required unless I say during the lectures that it is not. But I think you're going to find that APA is predominant because of us giving credit for the information that we utilize in our written assignments. Critical thinking. Critical thinking is one of our transferable skills. I'll be talking about those in a minute. There's 6 transferable skills that we've identified through employers that are very important and relevant to them. And so in all of your assignments in this school, you will encounter dealing with the 6 transferable skills. Critical thinking is one of my favorite because I went to law school. I was taught what they call the Socratic method, where to get answers to questions, I was asked a series of questions that opened up my mind to analyzing and thinking, and then I would come up with the answer most of the time. Sometimes they would give it, but most of the time that's how it was done. And since I started doing that years and years ago, it's a natural process. Critical thinking is very important in business because of the fact that you have to be able to sometimes think outside the box. You have to be able to analyze and critique information pretty fast, particularly myself, because I was also a trial lawyer and I tried cases in front of judges and juries, and in those instances I oftentimes was called upon to provide information right there on the spot. So critical thinking is very important. That's going to be reflected in your written assignments as well, and they're very important. So here's some additional resources. And again, when you open up your course homepage, this is it. This is what they call, when it said the course home, that's what it is. And you find some really good information to help you. And I remind you that the sole source of your papers cannot be the textbook. Now, your textbook is embedded in the course, which means that you can access your textbook each week. You're given the chapters and they are in the book. In fact, the book that we utilize is only available in this format. And so when you do your papers, don't just cite the textbook. We expect you to do research. And the Library and Learning Center here at the school has sources, and I'm going to show you some of those sources in a few minutes. So you'll lose points if you fail to do research. All written papers, as I already said, should be APA format. Just a few points. It means citations in the body. Not just a citation, but citations support your statements that are included in your paper. And references at the end, which give the full location. And if you have two citations in your paper, two different ones, if you have two different references, you should have a minimum of two citations, one of each, but you can cite your references more than once as citations in your paper. What you're really doing is giving credit to the author. And again, we're going to talk about that in the academic integrity video. So you'll have a chance to do that. And then here, these are some things that can help you as far as research is concerned. Now, while I'm here, let's go to the Library and Learning Center. And you can see that the Library and Learning Center provides information at the top that helps you with research tools, and you'll see APA to help you with tutoring, and it tells all kinds of things. This is for us as faculty to use. And then this down here is if you click on a word, it leads you to sources. Now, one of the tools that we have in this school is Grammarly. You run your papers through Grammarly, and the school provides you with a Grammarly account. And I will show you that under the resources tab in a few minutes. But if you hover over any of these and click on it, it opens it up, such as APA. Now, since I talked about that a little bit, you can open this up and it gives you a toolkit. It helps you to see what it's like. There are videos that will help you. Basics, how to prevent plagiarism, how to set your papers up, and so forth. Notice it says 6th edition. We are heading toward the 7th edition, which starting in the fall will be required. Right now, we grade you if you do the 6th or the 7th. Okay, and then you're going to deal with all of these requirements. It's very easy. It's not that difficult. And one of the most important points is citations in the body, references at the end, a cover page, a reference page, double spacing, Roman 12 should be your font size as well. And your margins shouldn't be, I think it's an inch, not an inch, rather, yeah, 1 inch, no less than an inch from the bottom to the top to satisfy a full page requirement. But there are various videos and things that can help you in hovering over that. Okay, so now let's go back, and then you have since you're a new student, there's a guide here that helps you and answers questions that you might want to be able to check out. Some of this stuff you should have learned when you first came in through orientation. And then, like I said, the transferable skills, we're going to talk about those in detail in just a few minutes, these 6 transferable skills. So you'll learn about that there as well. Now, one of the things that is real important is recognizing that there are guides. And this will help you depending on the school. So the School of Justice that I teach has one, and the School of Business. So if you clicked on that, it helps you with APA and all the different things that you encounter in terms of the School of Business. And so you'll get accustomed uh, to utilizing that as well. Okay, so because each school has their own. So now let's go back to okay. All right, so I got to go back to sharing my screen. Oops. I got to go back and open it up because I closed it out. Give me a minute. All right, I'm logging in. You can't see what I'm looking at, but I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay. All right, so now let me share my screen. And now you can see back where we were. Here we go. All right, so that's some of the information. Tutor assistance information is in here also. These are various links and things that can help you, again, to be successful here. And then if I see that you're struggling, I will refer you out. There's a video in here that deals with critical thinking, and you can copy and paste this, put it in your browser, and you'll be able to see that video. All right. Rubrics are very important in terms of grading. For all your assignments, you will see on the course homepage, and I emailed them to you. You each should have received them in the second email that I sent you. I sent you first the welcome email, and then I sent you this, and it tells you what the requirements are for each written assignment. So for this week, module 1, recent business crime, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're not going to go into it because I want to go over the expectations, and it goes all the way down. You see every assignment. So it's right here. This is right here on your course page, all the way to 6. Then you have, starting next week, you won't have it today, your course project, and you'll have some information that I will be sharing with you concerning that starting next week. So you got weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, and so you just have 4. So you have 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then your discussion posts. Now, every week you have discussion posts. Your initial posts are generally going to be due on Tuesdays. However, this week is not due Tuesday because we didn't start the course until yesterday, Wednesday. So therefore, your initial post and reply posts will be due by Saturday. You can start on your initial post if you want to already, but the point of the matter is that to be on time. And it's very important that you have content information. You don't just have a little short response, because if you just have a little short line, I like your post, good post, and all that, you're going to get dinged for points. I want to see some analysis, critical thinking, that you thought about the issue that is in the discussion post. And the rubric itself, once you open it up, which I'll just might as well open it up and let you look at it, and it explains to you, and it tells you how this is how you get the maximum A, B, C, D, F. No post, or it's rude or abusive. We don't really have rude or abusive posts, but we might have some no post. You won't get any points. If it's poorly written, you'll lose even more points. And notice what requirements are. And when you respond to the post, and notice that this will be due also on Saturday. Normally, your reply post will be due on Saturdays every week. Your live classroom lecture is here. It's the link. Obviously, you know it because you're here. It tells about the lecture for today. And today's lecture, you'll notice, is taking place today. It normally will be taking place on Wednesdays. I didn't want to start you with the first day with a lecture, which would have been yesterday. So today is the first one. I do them in the evening because I've had a number of students who I've tried different times, and from early in the morning to the afternoon, and I get the same results. So most of the time, students are able to access their lectures and attend. Try, if at all possible, to make the live lectures, because you have access to the recording, but you can have firsthand answers to questions and right there if you're in the live lecture. So our first one is today, and it's open house, and we'll go in more detail as to why this is longer, because I'm going to tell you some stuff about me at the end that you may not know. And then the live lectures on the topics will be starting Wednesday of next week, and then go every Wednesday, 8:30 to 9:30, and that begins a week from yesterday, which is the 19th. You must attend the live lecture or listen to the archive. I will give a keyword, and please, please, please do not get in the habit of going through it, looking for the key word or phrase. You do yourself a disservice, because I'm going to be covering the materials in the module that will help you for that week. And your grades will probably end up reflecting it, because there'll be things that I can tell when students don't really pay attention to the lectures, because of the fact that they find themselves making mistakes that I know, you know. So, all right, no problem about being late. No problem. I hope your daughter is better. So don't worry about those kinds of things. So all that you've missed, you can pick that up in the recording itself. All right. So in the way that recordings will be is not using this. The recordings will be placed under recordings. And something that I do, which is unique, because there are times when WebEx is not available, as you probably have gotten some messages already, and that what I do is I take each lecture, and it's converted to an MP4, but then I convert it further into a YouTube video, upload it to YouTube. So you can find it anywhere on any device that you have. You can get YouTube. And so you can even get it on your televisions. I have a television that I can do that with. And then also, the link will be right here. And then I will also email it to you as well. Now, this is probably not going to make sense what I'm going to do, but I will say that the people who get the recordings will we'll get them later, because it takes several hours before the recording is available to me on WebEx, because there are so many people using it, because more and more people are working online. And so anyway, the recording will be listed here each and every week, and then emailed to you as well. So now let's go over to the other side. And the academic integrity video I'm going to hold for a minute, but I want to take you to and show you about the Resources tab, which you should have learned about earlier in my welcome email. But if you go to the Resources tab, it provides information about many of the things I've said, including APA, including Grammarly. Now, you each have a Grammarly account, and if you clicked on this, it will open it up and it'll tell you how to set up your account. Make sure you use your Rasmussen or Rasmussen student email. And the reason is because you don't have to pay for it, and there's a check that you need to put in there for plagiarism. If you use a regular Grammarly account and you have to pay you have the premium, then you'll be paying out of pocket, and you don't want to do that. All right. So you want to make sure that you utilize this and run every one of your papers through, because here's what's going to happen. With Grammarly, it will measure for me plagiarism, how much of the material in your paper is from sources you discovered during research. But I want to focus on your critical thinking in your papers, your analysis, your critique, and applying what you discovered from your research. And so very analytical. That's what you really want to be, very analytical in your written assignments. That goes for discussion posts as well. Oh, speaking of discussion posts, you don't have to worry about APA for discussion posts. However, it's a good thing to have citations and references, sources to support the statements that you have in your discussion forum. So you won't lose points if you don't. All right, so that's Grammarly. All right, so now let's go back. And then you'll see there are Noodle tools, there's a writing guide, and then there's guides by subject to your program. I already showed you that. But if you clicked on it here, you'll see the exact same thing that I showed you earlier. The library and learning services, same thing. You can find information about webinars, recordings, and other types of things as well for the library. All right. And if you go through what I showed you earlier, it'll also lead you to the library. Then you can make an appointment with a librarian to help you out. For business, the librarian is, let's see, oh, here we go. Kate Anderson. I really don't know Kate that much because I don't do a lot of the business program. They just loan me out during certain times to help out. All right. So also on here is transferable skills. So I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about transferable skills. And these are skills that we've identified from employers that they want you to be proficient at when you leave school. Therefore, your assignments that you complete will all have you actually beginning to do these things, so that by the time you graduate, it'll become a way of life for you. The first three are for individual development. The second three have to do with dealing with other parties. So let's talk about critical thinking, which we already have. Basically, as it says, improving thinking. We want you to deal with problem solving, creativity, clarity, precision, logic. Basically, we want you to be analytical. That's critical thinking. Very, 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 very important in today's society. Digital fluency. Everything is digital, from your books to the systems that you use, the learning center that you learn information through, the process, the LMS, the Blackboard is the one we use, and learning how to navigate that. So technology runs it. When I came out of law school, there was no such thing. And almost everybody has one of these things, a smartphone. I have Android. Some people, most younger people, like Apple. And then on here, I have, you can just see them, these apps or applications where I have everything on here. And it helps me to keep myself organized, including my textbooks. Um, you learn how to use Word documents because it's very important. All of your written assignments should be in Word and not PDF or Adobe PDF, because I can't edit and go through them. Otherwise, you'll get a 0. And it says it in the assignment that it should use Word. Excel sheets, spreadsheets, which you'll learn to use in accounting and business. And it just goes on and on and on. But employing and understanding tools that are digital, and that's almost everything now is digital. We have a few students in this class that are older students. Well, I'm probably the oldest person in this class. I'm 70 years old. People don't believe I'm that old. However, though, I am proficient at this because I learned to keep up with the times, and I know how to use um, and appreciate digital fluency because you'll hear me talk about it later. I used to carry these big books, and when going to law school, we used to call them hernia creators because they were so big. But now you can use digital tools as well. We used to go to this place called the library and use the Dewey Decimal System. But now people use Google and other search engines. You use Chrome, and there are several others. Firefox. We usually recommend Firefox for your work, but some people can use Chrome as well. So digital fluency is so important. Information literacy, being able to find information that's credible and that is um, able to not be, as we say, not uh, educational. There is one resource that we tell you in information literacy up front, never to use, never, never, never to use. And most professors should tell you this. It's called Wikipedia. Does anybody know why we don't recognize students use Wikipedia, why we discourage it? You can type it in the, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say because anyone can edit and update the information on it.
Okay, all right. You can, yeah, you can type that in, but yeah, you did say it in the mic. That's okay. But that is exactly right. It can be edited by anyone. Anyone can go in and change the information in there. And then here you come and you're relying on that information and it may be changed. And so, I mean, they even changed birthdays, all kinds of things that can be done. Most web pages are not word oriented. They're PDF, and only the editor or the administrator can change what's on that page there. And as a matter of fact, that's the way we have it at the college here as well. Um, and the other thing is this, I saw a student that just said information on the web may not be credible or true. Well, once again, you're going to have to learn to utilize sources that are credible. One of the ways of really making sure that you use credible resources is use the library and learning resources that I shared with you a little earlier, because they have been vetted and they're all very, very, very reliable as well. All right. So, and if I supply something to you, you can use that as well. And so those are the three that for yourself. The fourth one And the fifth and the sixth one, communication. Oh, it's the beginning, very important. You must be able to read and write and speak in oral communication. You have to be able to understand nonverbal language in operating in this world today. If you looked at my page that I did in the student lounge, you saw my mnemonic called lawyers. It just happens to spell lawyers. And it's tools that are necessary for success. And it's heavily focused on communication. Listen and learn, and that's the L's. And then you'll earn. The A is for arithmetic. That's the math that you deal with. The W is being able to write. I skipped the Y. The E is being able to express yourself, as we're talking about here. And then the R is for reading, and the S is for studying. And the Y is you. You're in the middle of that. But communication, written and oral communication, is very, 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 very important, because oftentimes your memos and things that you write become exhibits a lot of times in court, and you want to make sure that they're proper. You're going to deal with individuals who speak different languages, and you're going to have to be able to communicate with them, not necessarily fluently. Say hablo poquito en español. Does anybody know what I just said? Anybody know what I just said? Okay. Stephanie, go ahead. Open up your mic since you raised your hand.
You speak a little bit of Spanish.
Oh, you said, say it again?
You said habla poquito. You speak a little bit of Spanish.
Yes, that's right. Se habla poquito. Poquito is little. Okay. En español. And, if you pay attention to me being able to say that, I can communicate with people. But notice nonverbal language. When I say poquito, I do this. Even if you don't understand, it means little, And while I'm with you right now, let me give you a word to add to your vocabulary in Spanish. Could you tell me how to say no in Spanish? Anybody? If you have to open it up, you can open up your mic. How do you say no in Spanish?
I thought no or nada means nothing. So no.
How do you say no in Spanish?
I thought it was just no. I know nada means nothing. So
You already said it. There's no. It is no. No. That's it. So yeah, I was telling somebody I teach all my students a little bit of Spanish. No means no, and if you do this, and a person sometimes doesn't even understand what you're saying, communication, then you're probably saying no. If you're saying this and agreeing, you're answering yes to them. And there are things that go like, you put your hands up like that. Most of the time you're saying, I don't know. But the point of the matter is communication is critical as one of the transferable skills, because you got to deal with other individuals. Diversity and teamwork. We have people from all backgrounds. In fact, this school, I'm proud to say, is heavy on diversity. We have people from all walks of life, race, sex, national origins, sexual preferences, religious beliefs that work here, and students that attend the school. That's the way you're going to deal in the world. We have what we call a diversity and inclusion committee board, and I'm on it. And we're studying a book right here. It's called Blind Spot, Hidden Biases of Good People. I encourage people to read this book. It's pretty interesting. And we're doing sessions with faculty once a week on Thursdays in the morning, where I'm a part of the lead team for one of the groups. Because I believe in diversity. I came up in an era, being 70 years old, where Jim Crow, segregation, and all kinds of things. I've continued to operate in civil rights for all people of all positions. Even if I don't totally agree with them, I still agree that people should be able to express their positions and positions in a way that's nonviolent. So we have to be empathetic when we're dealing with people. When you are dealing in this class in teamwork, you're going to be working on discussion posts, collaborating with each other as students. Once you're out, you're going to work on teams. When I know that in the business world, there are accountants, lawyers, paralegals, and then it goes on and on. Marketing people that you have to deal with, and so you're going to operate from people coming with different perspectives based upon their discipline, and you're going to have to learn to apply that. Ethics. I taught a course at this school called Ethics in Criminal Justice, Ethics in Medicine, and Ethics in Business. I've taught that here at the school because ethics is so important, and it's for the good of the world. You're going to do good things. Learn to do the right thing. That's why we have this thing about plagiarism and academic integrity. You want to maintain that at all costs. Truth, as I was telling someone, has no S. Truth has no S. Lies has S. Try saying the word truths. It's not easy to say because your mouth can't formulate truths. You can't put an S on truth. It's either true or it's not true. And the truth, and then lies, like I said, it just kind of like rolls off. But you can get in trouble with those kind of situations. When you're an unethical and unprofessional person, you're going to probably end up either behind bars, or you're going to lose your licenses, or you're going to lose your livelihood. You're going to be probably the subject of litigation oftentimes. And so we encourage you to apply professional. I always teach my students uh, ethical, professional, and educational. Those are the three ways that you should approach your life in terms of operating. So those are the transferable skills. There's more if you want to get into it in more detail. And you can click on this and you can look at it yourself, but it's all over the place. Okay. So now let's let's go back into the module. Okay. So we're back to the course homepage now. So you know where the resources tab is now. So let's take a few minutes, and I want you to listen to this 4-minute video, which I'm going to copy and paste it and put it in another browser. Open up another window, should I say, and paste and go. I'm going to take off my head. Also see the closed caption, but pay attention very carefully. Okay, here we go.
What is academic integrity? Academic integrity is making decisions in your academic life that are based on honesty, trust, fairness, responsibility, and respect. This means being honest in the work you do while respecting everything you do. What is cheating? Cheating means destroying or receiving answers or information by any means that it means expressly meaning by its requirements or an instructor. purchasing papers from websites or other sources, copying lessons or assisting in classification and other violations of maximum academic and policy that can be found in all courses. Always ask your professor if it's okay to use notes during the test or to work together with classmates on an assignment or quiz. Plagiarism means using another individual's work without giving them credit or taking another person's work and creating it as well. Some examples of plagiarism are turning in an assignment that someone else wrote, copying words or ideas from someone else, listing out manual source text, or manual source or other material without giving the original credit. Finding different working parts that quotation marks, or using someone else's ideas and presence that change the form of words to make it sound like words in a way. Plagiarism is not just about written words and ideas. It's possible to plagiarize images, graphs, coding, video as well. Cite our sources. Often the body of the paper has in-text citations and other references. Whenever you want to use words, images, video, and notice that it really relevant person, you should cite that person appropriately as a source of that information. How is academic integrity related to work? It uses the concept integrity in the workplace starts with work practices and skills built to guide all students. I think that an imagine documents or tools of examples and for job. Written tips can be recommended for how to example jobs and following the academic integrity guidelines. Everyone is here. Builds those smarts and ethical practices that keep the students. I have examples of that, but everyone needs to work on. This is the questions that I'm presenting on books. Start with what students, talk with structural listen to the systems, listen to the style, and follow the mechanism. Contact the Rasmussen characters for how to stop or something that is together with the represent. Not feel the resources for.
Okay, and that's, now you see the point about APA and the importance and the critical skills we're talking about, ethical. And what you're doing is you're not stealing somebody's information and materials, but you're giving credit to the individual who did it. Okay, I have some other sources to help you. Your writing process, you can go through these yourself. Click on more, and it opens it up. APA, you already know about that, but there it is again. There's another place to find it there. Notice one of the things that this classroom that I teach, on any classroom I do, I make sure that you have that information. You have already seen this, but I do want to emphasize the importance that this is not just something you glean over. Notice the things that are highlighted. Pay close attention to these things and read this over for yourself. There's some important things, like in the student lounge, it tells you about who I am. And here you can find the information in the student lounge. And we encourage you to post in there. Some of you guys have already. There you go right there. These are some of the people here who have. And it's no big deal with letting you know who have, because it's already going to be seen by everybody. This is mine, and it tells you about me. That's my family. That's my wife, myself. This is my son Julian, who's 20. She's 21. That's my daughter Julia. So we got Julian and Julia. Her name is Julia. Her name is Jillian, and she's 12. And this is Richard, and I'm Richard. He's junior and I'm senior. And then that's part of my group. And then it tells you a little bit about me. And then you see me as a youngster, 28 years old, receiving my law degree in June of 1978. For all you guys, many of you were born, some of you, just a few of you in this class might have been. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, important. And then it tells you again that it says, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. I'm not just giving a statement. I mean what I say. My kids will tell you, they say, my dad is really, really good about saying what he means and means what he says. And that's where I am with my students. I take the time to help you. So we're going to go over the syllabus in a minute. I'm going to share with you the course calendar, which is so important. General course questions is a place that you can find under discussions. If you go under discussion, you could find it that way. And it gives you student lounge and then general course questions. And then each week it gives your discussion forum and a topic. But your general course question, you click this and then you create a thread and put your question in there. Anyone can answer the question that you put in there, not just me, but fellow classmates. Please, whatever you do not put personal information in there. If you're going to send that kind of information, then you're going to include that in the course mail and personal communication to me. Your calendar will be a schedule. There'll be announcements that you pay close attention. And then resources tab, which you now are familiar with. The report tab is how you get to your grade book. And then this is some more information to help you. I provide much information to help my students. And then this is a reminder about the schedule of the live lectures and so forth. Okay, each week there is an announcement. Today, I'm just going to take a minute. No, before I do that, let's go. I want to show you the course calendar. Now, your course calendar, you can get it at the top of your page, or the way that I do it myself is I use what we call course tools. You don't have access to that, and so it takes me to the course calendar and it tells me the calendar. Now you might look at it and it says it doesn't have much information. Click on it, open it up, there it is. Live lecture, click on it, there it is. Notice that your initial post about why have laws pertaining to business, you're going to do that by the 15th, and your reply post by the 15th. If you do it by the 16th, we will not be accepting it. I'm saying it up front because of the fact that the forum ends 11:59 p.m. on Saturday nights. Now, I'm going to tell you this about discussion posts. You'll see this starting next week. Your initial posts are every week Tuesdays. Every week Tuesdays, and your reply posts are going to be Saturdays until you get to the final week. You'll see that in a minute. And you will see, as I'm about to say about the discussion post, is that the forum ends 11:59 p.m. Saturday night. So Sunday morning at 12, the forum's over. Now, the way that I give my students a break is, let's say, for example, you've put your initial post in, all right? And then your reply post comes in on a Sunday. Rather than give you a 0 for it, I will take away a point. Now, that doesn't apply to this week. It doesn't apply this week. You got to get them in by Saturday. But the weeks after that, because your initial post is going to be due on a Tuesday, and then your reply post Saturday. So if you get your initial post in, even each day it's late, you're going to lose points. If you get it all the way up to Saturday, and then you put your reply post in, then your reply post will be on time, but you'll lose points for this. But let's say you put your initial post on this date, that's Saturday, and then your reply post that Sunday, I will deduct a point for you. So be aware. I do encourage you to reply to more than one post. Again, I do encourage sources that you can cite to help you with that as well. So this is your course calendar, and it goes all the way through, shows you how quickly this is over. The 18th of September, it is over. The class ends. That is the last day of class. Last day of class. Okay, so all your assignments are going to be due on Sundays with the exception of discussion posts, except when you get to the last day, September 18th. It will happen so fast, and that's why I encourage you to keep up. All right, weeks 1 to 3 is considered as the first half of the course. Then weeks 4, 5, and 6 is the second half of the course, so that you'll have that information here. All right, so there's your course calendar. So now let's go back to the course home. Again, each week there will be an announcement. It has information and it tells you what your reading assignment is, and it gives you some activities to help you so that you will be familiar with the topics of the week. There's some flashcards. I'll show you how that worked very briefly today, more in detail with the following weeks. Discussion assignment, I already told you that. Your initial posts and reply posts are due this Saturday. Then your written assignment, recent business crime, and then I'm going to talk about the course project and introduce it during this week. Next week, we will be talking more in detail about it. But pay close attention to the rubrics. I've already said that. Then it tells you about the lecture. And then adversity is the springboard to success. That's something that I want to share with you on a personal level. It'll take about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour to share that information, but I'm going to do it as quickly as I can tonight with you. And so that's the announcement. Every week, there may be other announcements that you'll see, but it's very important that you check your announcements. Now let's go and let's look at the syllabus. The syllabus is basically your agreement between the school, and it tells you stuff like who I am. There, you know that number. There's my Rasmussen email. You'll find that I have 2. You could use it without the 2 or with the 2, and I'll get it. And then this is information that you already know from my course homepage. This tells you, it says that the textbook is Essentials of Business Law by Rogers, publisher, and you have that embedded in your course. All right. We already talked about when assignments are due, weekly discussions, and things like that. So you have readings, discussions, the assignment, written assignments, and your course project. And again, you'll start dealing with that next week. Then the live lectures, which take place after tonight on Wednesday nights. And this is the breakdown of how you get your points. You want to get 455 points. The way you do that is attend or get your key phrase or word that I'll give you for the lecture, your course project done appropriately, your written assignments done, and then your discussions. So the key thing is this balance between these three, and then of course your live classroom lectures. Now I'm going to say this up front. I work from A to B minus with students. If you want to know how to get a C in my class, I will not tell you. You don't need me to talk to you about that. I like to produce students who fit the role of honor roll and dean's list. Now, if you want to be a C student, you can do that all by yourself in the class. I'm not going to help you get there. I'm not going to help you just to pass. I don't do that. That's not my role. The way I've been successful is I've always been an A or a B student. I got some C's way back when I was younger, before I finally got serious, but I had to learn this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get to a good law school like Northwestern. So the point of the matter is this. You want to maximize what I call your ROI. Now, you guys in this area should learn what ROI is. Does anybody know what ROI is right now? Anybody? Okay. It means return on investment. You want to maximize your return on your investment. You're investing in your education, in your future, in your ability to live a good life. I'm 70 years old. I've done pretty well because I invested well while I was in school. Okay, I did my work. I listened to the professors. I paid attention. And sometimes I went back and asked even more questions, but I got what I went after. Okay, here your transferable, okay, participation by me, all those things you'll see. This says respond to all course messages within 48 hours. I do them faster than that. And then we got the information here in the syllabus. Transferable skills, we talked about that. Attendance, you look at that yourself. Now, the late assignment policy, as I said earlier, it says discussions conclude at the end of the current week or Saturday night, 11:59 p.m. Discussion posts made after them will not be accepted. Well, they'll only be accepted, but you'll get a 0. And I already explained my process for that. But what I want to remind you of about your late assignments, try to keep up because this goes so fast. And if you have a problem, let me know, let your advisor know, let your dean know, so that we can give you some ideas. Don't waste your money and have to repeat a course. It's very expensive. So anyway, your assignments, the rule is 10% off for each day it's late, up to 7 days. Don't get complacent with that. And I'm going to show you why I say that. Sunday, your assignments are due. If you get it turned in on Monday, then the most you can get is a 90. If Tuesday, 80. If Wednesday, 70. If Thursday, 60. What is a 60? Ups, there you are. You're down here. So by Thursday, you're at, so even if you got those other days, it doesn't matter. The point of the matter is that you are, that's the school policy, and I abide by it. There is something that you should know, and it's in this third line, and I read it out. Instructors may waive the late penalty or time frame in the case of extenuating circumstances as determined by faculty. I'm the one who makes that call, not your dean, not your advisor, or anybody else. I am the one. The deans will say, you have to talk to your professor. They will not make me do any of this stuff because of the fact that that's part of the deal. that we as professors. So what do I say to my students? Communicate with me. I already told you what my position is. My communication is more open than any professor you're ever going to have. If you have a professor who communicates with you more than I present, let me know. I don't think there is one, and everybody says no, but I love doing it because my students are an extension of my family, and I take each and every one of my students under my wing to help them out. Not just while you're in my class, I've helped students after class. I've helped them get jobs. I've written letters of recommendation. I've done all these kind of things. The key thing is that I'm a hands-on professor. You might not agree with me. I had some students that I have a couple of students who went to the deans about me and then came back later, and I said, now you're through. Can we get this done now? And they'll get it done. The point of the matter is that I want you to do well. And that's the way that I roll. Educational, professional, and ethical. Those are the things that are important. All right. So that's how the late assignment policy. I tell you, I have never failed that students come to me during the 5th week and they say to me, Professor, how am I going to pass your class? And I look and see they turned in 2% of the work. And my answer is, it doesn't appear mathematically that you're going to be able to pass. And I'm not going to give you an incomplete with that kind of situation. But, if you run into an issue, let me know. Please let me know. I'm here. Don't be afraid. I had a student that she was so afraid to talk to me. I said, why? I'm not the big bad wolf. I says, I'm the coach on the team and you're the players. Let's work together and be successful. All right. And then here's your academic integrity policy. You can read that on your own. And that's what I wanted to say about the syllabus. Now, very quickly, I want to show you about the module. And then I want to close by sharing a little story. Now, this guide is so important to help you that it was developed and put in here. You click on it, you should see some stuff that you are familiar with already. Yes. And this is for the course, though. What has happened is that the Library and Learning Center has collaborated and put together what you need to help you with each week's assignments and gives you some tips that we've already talked about to help you succeed. Okay, so utilize this. Utilize this. Look what this says. As a business student, I have zero experience in law courses. So this course really intimidated me. Don't be intimidated by what you don't know. My math was my albatross, but I could do regular math. But boy, when it came to that algebra and that other stuff, we battled. My minor was accounting, by the way, in college, and so I worked through explanations. I help you, and you got additional help with research on your assignments through the tutors and the librarians, and really good. APA, and these are just some things that some students have said about their experiences here. So anyway, this is in every week. You'll see this guide. So now let's take a quick look at the assignments for the week. So, recent business crimes. So, and it tells you this week you're introduced to some common business related crimes. Your assignment is to research a recent business crime not more than 3 years old and select one as a topic. Examples include, but not limited to, hacking, Ponzi schemes, identity theft. Ooh, that's a present one right now. explain how the crime is committed, and it follow the answers. Your papers must be 2 to 3 pages in length. Proper APA, we already talked about that, and you already says to show where you received the source for your information about the crimes. We already talked about that. And then it tells you submit your assignments in Microsoft Word form, and it tells you how to do it in the Dropbox so that you can put it in. And this tells you the due date. There it is right there, and for 30 possible points. Again, you already have the rubric. You guys should already have the rubric. I emailed it to you. It's on the course homepage, and this is it right here. I sent you these rubrics, and if you clicked on that link and then downloaded the information, you'll see there are two. There's the project rubric, okay, and then you go back and you see the written assignment rubric for each week. And this week you're concentrating on this, and you see how you get your points distributed and broken down. If you don't have APA, you start out with 25. Okay, so I read through these and make sure that those things are done. Okay, so that's back to that. All right, so now let's go back again, your assignments. And so you follow that and read what's in your rubric. Your discussion post, I already talked to you about that. And then your live classroom lecture, you enter your keyword or phrase. It says your instructor will conduct a live session. That's what I do. Review my communication through announcements. I already told you about that. Course mail and calendars for the date and time. It's in your course homepage. So you click on this and open it. And then if you click begin, it'll tell you to open up for the key phrase in there. If you click begin, it'll say put your response in here. And that's where your key phrase goes in, and save your answer, and then save and submit. It will show up and let me know, and then I will grade it. Okay, very easy. Okay, stay on the page. I'm going to go back to the course home.
Professor, I have a question.
What is it?
Can you repeat the key phrases?
Huh?
Can you repeat the 2 key phrases for me, please?
I haven't.
Okay, I just want to make sure I ain't missed nothing.
No, I'll tell you.
Okay, no problem.
Don't worry, you'll get them. I haven't said them, so.
Okay, thank
nope.
you.
And I always tell students, don't even try to listen for the key phrase, because I'll tell you, but then I'll also usually give students an opportunity to guess what this key phrase might be as well. But nope, haven't said it yet. All right. So the assignments you already have. Each week, we're gonna deal with these objectives, and then again, you will have read this, and I will talk about business law overview, show you the activity, and then I'll introduce the course project really quick today because the fact that it doesn't start till next week. And so this you're going to take a look at yourself. Okay, and if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. But this is background information to help you in addition to your reading that helps you to understand how things work. All right. And then you click that next. Okay. And it opens up and it explains. You click on these things and it gives you information to help you as well. This is for yourself. Okay, now these flashcards, these are really neat. These are activities that will help you, and you can even have them to you probably couldn't hear that because I have my headphones on, but if you check the box that says speak, it will tell you administrative agency, and then know or don't know. Click to flip.
A government entity that is part of the executive branch, which makes rules governing a specific type of activity and has the power to hold judicial type hearings.
Did you hear what she said? You couldn't hear it, could you? Because it's in my headphones. No, but when you do it yourself and check the box, you'll be able to hear as well as see. Okay. All right. And then you can pause it. You can start over again and stuff. You know,
Administrative law.
you know, these are the ones you don't know. Then you want to come back, but you shouldn't do that. Use the ones know.
Civil law.
And then
law designed to protect individual rights and allow individuals to sue for redress of wrongs.
when you
Opposed to criminal laws.
when you
Protect society in general.
when you open it up, you will be able to hear it speak. Check that speak box. So if you don't, it won't do that. Okay. And this is an activity that will help you. So now let me quickly, in 5 minutes, just talk about the project. It's not what you think it is. Each week is a different module. And what it does is it gives you an opportunity to put some hands-on into the elements of what a contract is all about. And I have some tools that I'm going to share with you, some things I'm going to help you with what we call a statute of frauds. You'll see it. But here's how it works. Notice today is just the introduction, and we're going to deal with all kinds of contracts. Not a whole lot here in this course, but your assignments are going to be weeks 2, the contract issues and worksheet, rough draft, opening the doors to your business, and final contract due. During each of these modules, you'll be building a component to a final contract that you're going to do. So you're going to be building a contract starting with week 2 next week. Don't worry about it. And then while you are able to set up your own terms, these are items that have to be included in contracts. All right. And again, you're going to learn about something called the statute of frauds that says these certain contracts must be in writing. I'm going to give you a simple formula to help you. Don't worry about it for right now, but you're going to be building a contract. That's what the course project is all about. Don't get intimidated by it. We're going a step at a time. Okay. So look, it says you are a business major student struggling to get by financially, but you're in need of some extra tuition money, which fits everybody. Looking around for your apartment, you notice that you have a set of toys with children's meals from a fast food restaurant called Razzies, like McDonald's, for example, have, which you collect over the years. By concluding a quick internet search, you realize that the toys are worth $700. So you quickly put an ad in the paper, and you set up a website and so forth. And anyway, you go through all these steps, and then the value is $700. Now, by the fact that it's $700, there's going to be certain requirements that say it must be in writing. Don't worry about that right now. I'm just telling you right now. So, but you'll list the price for $750. You can list it for whatever you want for a potential buyer. It will let the buyer feel as though they've received a deal. And so then you read this down here. Throughout the upcoming weeks, you'll obtain more information about how to negotiate and do that. Don't worry about it. It's a project. It's part of it. And it's pretty easy. It's not rocket science, and I'm going to walk you right through it. Okay. Any questions? I got to put you back in. Any questions? Got to put you back in the course because I booted you out.
No, Professor.
Yes. Okay. All right. So now, okay. What did I do? Okay. Stop sharing. It'll take me back to where I need to be. Okay. So here I am here. Now, kill your camera. Can't turn your camera off because it'll, yeah. Okay. I'm the only one who needs a camera, and sometimes I even turn mine off. Okay. So now that's it for the week. I'm going to give you the key phrase in just a minute. Give me about, it's 10 minutes, almost 9 minutes to 10. Bear with me for about 10 minutes afterwards. I'm going to tell you something. I am a person who believes in overcoming challenges in life. I have had challenges in my life, and I have had challenges that most of you will not ever have to deal with. But I'm still standing. I'm still strong. I still can smile after all I've been through. And so therefore, I want you to understand I'm a very empathetic individual. So let me share with you a little bit about me. I'm going to do it the shortest way I can with you guys. When I was 7 years old, my dad was murdered right in front of these two eyes in the house. A man that turned out to be a renter, who turned out to be my mother's live-in boyfriend. My dad confronted him, and he was stabbed in front of me and 5 younger sisters in 1957. He died. The man did not go to jail. The man continued living in the house, and he began to beat my mother after that for 5 years. He ended up fathering 2 kids with my mother, so therefore I had 5 sisters when my dad was killed, and then I had 2 more that came from that. So I had 7 younger sisters. So between 57 and 62, it was some really bad stuff. Then we moved in 62 to a city called Gary, Indiana, and he moved with us. And an aunt came, and the beating stopped because she was pretty tough. She was like Tyler Perry's character, Medea. She carried a gun, and she was tough. Nobody messed with her. And so it was tough. It was difficult. So in the meantime, we come to 1963, and my aunt, who came to stay with us, decided to leave and go back home. And then here we come to Memorial Day of 1963, and the man murders my mother. We ended up being brought back to Chicago to stay with an aunt who didn't want us there, but we stayed there, and it was a challenge for us. I was 13 years old at that time, and they told us they were going to split us up, but my other aunt came back from Michigan, and she, the one I told you who was tough, she said, no, I'm going to take all of those kids, and she had a house built. And in 64, and I was 14, we moved into that house. Her husband and I didn't get along because he wanted me to take his last name, but I was the only one who could carry my dad's name on. So I didn't want to do that, not out of disrespect, but I had that challenge from him. So it was a lot of stress and pressure. the two of them would get into it constantly, and guns were pulled in the house with us kids there. There was drinking and stuff that took place between them, and there was a lot of battles and fights between those two as well. I would find out that the man who killed my mother and father would receive 10 years for killing my mother, but 10 meant only 5. And for good behavior, he would serve 3.5 years. By this time, I'm 14. Someone brings to my attention that there's these people called lawyers who deal with that. And I went to the school, got a book from the librarian, and took that book home and read it cover to cover overnight. After I met anyone the next day, I said, my name is Richard Wright, and I'm going to become a lawyer. So it's a 14-year-old. Now, back in those days, 14-year-olds were little kids, and that's where I was. So I proceeded to go to high school, and did okay. I was a C student. I wasn't an A or B student because I had a lot of issues I was dealing with, but I still kept pushing through. Well, the church in the neighborhood decided that they were going to give me a scholarship, and all my aunt and uncle had to do was sign, no cost. He said no because of the way that our relationship was. And so I said, okay, don't worry about it. I'll do it my way. I said, when I graduate from high school, which would be 69 when I turned 19, I will move out. And I did. And I started to live with some friends. Their mom and dad let me come and stay at their house. And I started classes at night at a junior college, and began working my way through with pre-law. I worked at a law firm, which someone got me a job, and I started working in their mailroom. When I got there, I introduced myself to all the lawyers and said I was going to be a lawyer. And I consistently let them know. I was taking a full load of classes at night. I was on the bus, the L, and the train. I had to carry books in that time because there was no such thing as digital. And I studied on the L, on the train, on the buses. I'd have to be at work at 8:30 in the morning, get out of work at 4, and had to be in school by 4:30. I did that Monday through Thursday and then on Saturdays. In my first year, I decided to get married. And then after that, a year later, there came my first daughter, 71, 72, and came my second one. And I continued working through the whole process, challenges. I stayed on the dean's list and honor roll because I was determined I wasn't going to let nothing stop me from accomplishing my goal of becoming a lawyer. And so I ended up doing well at the school. I was active in student government, and all of that while still working a full-time job because I balance my time. Time management is something that I learned to master. And so I found myself at the point where it was time to leave the junior college, and I applied to Roosevelt University, a four-year institution in Chicago, where I could commute, and again continued my same schedule of going to classes. I stayed on the honor roll and dean's list. It came time in my junior year where, and it took me 7 years, by the way, to get my bachelor's because I had to decrease my load a couple of times because of some things I had to deal with. But I stayed in school all those times, and I always stayed at the A and B level. I found myself when I got to Roosevelt, um, doing pretty well and still involved with activities. I was involved with oh, by the way, my major when I became a student at the four-year institution Roosevelt was accounting as my minor, but political science was my degree. I was seeking to get my bachelor's, and actually I set myself up so that I could have gotten a double major. Well, what happened is that in my junior year, I took the LSAT, didn't do very well at it, but I still knew what I wanted to do. And it was time to apply to schools. It was told to me that I should apply to 3 schools so I could possibly get in one of them. I says, I'm not doing that. I'm applying to one. And the one that I ended up going to was the one that I said I wanted to go to because I had done research as a top law school in the United States, where Supreme Court justices, governors, mayors have come from. Top owners, the Jerry Reinsdorf, who owns the Sox and the Bulls. Believe it or not, Jerry Springer is actually a graduate in Northwestern Law School. He is actually a lawyer. Some people don't know that because his first job was mayor of Cincinnati. So I went to a good school and I applied. And they told me, they said, well, you know, your chances of getting in are slim to none. I don't operate on that basis. Don't let nobody tell me what I'm going to do as long as it's something for the good. So I ended up putting my application together, and they had like a 6-page document. But by the time I got through with it, it fit into a box because I had exhibits in there. I had things I wanted them to learn about me, including I wrote a detailed story about what I went through that I gave you the short part in my childhood. They invited me to come because they said they don't do those kinds of things, but they wanted to see who was behind this package. So I went to the law school and I met with the people at the school. There were 4 of them, took me in a room and they questioned me for a few hours. After that, they adjourned and then they came back and told me, they says, we don't make decisions about students based on this, but what we liked about you is many of the things you said. You're a unique individual. You have strength, tenacity, and you're focused. I remember them telling me that. I said, I'm going to become a lawyer, and I'm either going to become a lawyer at your school or at some school. So they told me, they said, we're going to write a letter that you're going to get in a few weeks, that we can't promise you anything, but I think you'll be happy with what you learn. And that was their way of telling me informally that I was going to be accepted. And I got into the class of 1975 at Northwestern University to graduate in 1978. I graduated. My first wife, she was in school as well while we were raising these 2 kids. And so I got accepted at Northwestern, started in September of 75. I was told that I could not work because the first year of law school was extremely challenging. They didn't have a night school, so I had to depend on the income that she had as a teacher. Well, guys, in that September of that year, the teachers went on strike, and there went all of our income. Didn't have any way to support. Our lights got turned off. I studied by candlelight. We had to eat canned beans and stuff like that. It was pretty challenging. We sent the 2 kids, 2 girls, to their grandmother, which was close by. But I weathered the storm. And yes, my grades started getting affected. So I went to one of my professors I respected, Professor Hughes, Joyce Hughes, and told her I was going to take a leave of absence. She said, before you do that, please come to my office. And I did. She took me in there. She stood in front of the door, slammed it, and said, sit down over there. And I sat down. She says, you're not getting out of this room till you agree that you're going to finish. I'll be here to support you and help you and encourage you, which is why one of the reasons why I'm the way I am today with students. And I took her up on it. And then 3 years later, 1978, I got my law degree, as you saw in that picture. While I was there, one of my classmates, his dad was a distinguished criminal defense lawyer. and became a judge sometime after that. He talked to me as I went to my classmate's house, and he learned about my background and what I had gone through. And he helped me to get the files on what happened exactly in 57 when my dad was killed, and then 63 when my mother was killed. And so he then talked to me and he says, I know you probably want to learn about this stuff, he says, and you might want to prosecute. He says, but I'm going to recommend that you be a defense lawyer. Yeah. So here's me, guys. I respected his professionalism. I knew his reputation, and I did it. I became a criminal defense lawyer. I left the law firm. I went back there as a lawyer. I was the first African-American attorney that they hired in the law firm, having worked my way up. Because while I was at the law firm, here's what happened to me. I became a messenger first. Then I became a file clerk. Then I became a law librarian. And then I showed them and demonstrated that I knew how to do research, and I taught myself. This wasn't part of my job. And they made me into what's called a paralegal today. I was called a law clerk, hired someone to take care of filing the paperwork away from the books. And I used to go to court and I would go to jails. They did some criminal stuff, but they did mostly civil stuff. They had clients like McDonald's, where I met the chairman and founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, and he and I developed a relationship. But all of this happened to this little kid that went through everything that I went through earlier. And so I found myself practicing law. And then 91 to 93. Oh, and by the way, when I graduated, I had one more to come, another girl. She was born in 78, the year I graduated. So I had these three girls that are not in here. And so anyway, and they're not on the pictures that you saw. And then I continued doing that, and my first wife and I decided we would go our separate ways, continued to raise the kids. And so I met a young lady. I was in seminary then, 91 to 93. I went to seminary and got involved in that. And I met a young lady who came to my law office, and we started dating, and we got married. And she and I had a child. There was my fourth one. Yes, another girl. And so anyway, I found myself where her mom became the mayor of a town called Ford Heights, a tough town in the south suburb of Chicago. And she asked me to be the village attorney for her. And I said I could do that because I was active already, by the way. I was doing radio and television, doing a show called Know Your Rights, which was spelled WRIGHTS. My law office was 974-4487, which spelled rights. And so anyway, I continued doing that. Well, I told her I would take the job, but I need to carry a gun. She said, you can't carry a gun, only police. So I says, well, I still want to do it. I said, what if I became a part-time police officer? And they said, well, we don't really have the money. I says, don't worry, I'll do it as an auxiliary volunteer. So they sent me to the academy, and I went through the academy, and I became a police officer. And then I never wore a uniform. I had all of my requirements satisfied to be a police officer. I participated in drug raids, street stops, and all of those different kinds of things. Found out the chief was crooked, so a new chief came in and he made me an investigator. And so I was an investigator, and then I did internal affairs, and I did all of that stuff, not knowing that it would come in handy years later. So 89 to 93, I did that. And so then I find out that my second wife and my former pastor, it was her church, they were doing their thing. So I ended up breaking off and finding myself in a situation where I wanted to be married, and I met a young lady in 94, and we got married in 94 in July. That's her you see on the picture there. We celebrated 26 years of marriage, July the 28th. And so anyway, um, she and I have the 4 kids that you saw. So I decided to retire from being a lawyer when I was 50 years old. That was 20 years ago. And I started teaching special education. I ran a janitorial company for a company called Service Merchandise. I started doing closings for title companies where I was dealing with contracts. I was already representing entertainers, athletes, primarily baseball, some basketball players that went on to become pros. I worked with some known artists in one form or another as either an advisor or one. You ever heard of a group called the Jacksons? Yeah, I'm sure you have. I dealt with them. I dealt with many entertainers, radio and TV people in Chicago. I did all of that stuff. And so I've had experience that really doors were open for me because I'm a go-getter. And so, yep, Stephanie really is right. Yes, I did. In fact, I used to see the Jacksons before my natural mother was killed because they lived a few blocks down from where I lived in Gary on Jackson Street. Literally, that was there's the street they lived on. I lived on Clark Road, which was close by. But anyway, digressing back to the point is that I found myself reaching the stage where in 2011, someone came to me and told me about this school that I never heard of called Rasmussen College. And so I did my due diligence and research. I found out it was credible because the chairman of the board of directors was a former president of Northwestern University, not the law school, but the university itself. And so that was credibility for me. And so I took a job as an adjunct professor teaching residentially at the Romeoville campus, teaching, yes, you guessed it, business law B234. It was residential at that time. And I did that, and I told the dean, I says that I was a criminal uh, lawyer and in my big parts, and so they transferred me into criminal justice, and I began working in criminal justice and continuing to do that. The school went online with criminal justice in 2013 or 14, and so anyway, so I went along with that. And then so did the business program go online. And then I taught some classes online, as I said, in not just business law, but in ethics as well in business. And so I've done those things. And so here I find myself coming up on 9 years of having been at Rasmussen. And so now I'm here as a person who's been challenged. And so now I challenge you. You're going to have adversity. It's going to happen to you, but you're going to have to learn to spring back from it. Every week I'll announce that. It's on the announcement. But I wanted to let you know that about me. So went a little longer, and just be aware that if you have a problem, you can come to me. I'm very empathetic and sympathetic to all of my students. And let's do this. Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey. Uh, you know, sometimes people need to realize the things that you go through either can make you or break you. And I'm one of these kind of people that adversity is like a tea bag in hot water. Actually, I have a sermon I teach, I preach about that. That a tea bag is nothing until it's been through some hot water. And so I've been through a lot of hot water, and but I've come out okay. and also my relationship. I'm a strong Christian. I pastor a church now with my wife. My two sons are ministers with me in the church, and I do that also. And you want to hook up with me, go to Facebook and send me a friend request, and you'll learn a lot about me. Richard Wright, JD, which is for Juris Doctor, which is my law degree. And so I want to welcome you to the next 5 weeks. I'll be here to help you, and we're gonna do this thing together. You know, thank you so much. I am doing a book about my story that's more detailed. There was someone who had talked to me about possibly having a Lifetime movie done about it as well, but so I don't know. But anyway, the point of the matter is that I'm here. So what's the key phrase for today? Anybody have any suggestions?
Motivation.
That's close. In the interest of time, adversity.
Time management.
Nope. I'm telling you it now. Adversity is the springboard to success. That's it. That's what I want you to give me. The whole thing. Or if you forget, it's right there in your module under announcements. But it's my life. Adversity is the springboard to success, and I'm living proof. Guess what? You too can do it. And I'm an example and is here to serve you guys. So I'm going to say good night to you guys. Wish you guys the best. We're facing something now that I've never faced in my life, something I can't see, but it's okay. It's called the coronavirus. But be wise, be smart. I hope each and every one of you guys are smart. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. I have a whole discussion. I took a course just recently with my alma mater on COVID-19 and the law. And then I listened to the professionals. I respect professionalism. I talked to the medical people, and they showed me something that I'll never forget about particles hanging in the air and how important masks are. But when I go out, I look like I'm going to rob the place because I'm 70 and I'm in what they call the high risk group, an African American male. I don't have any real serious health problems, but I'm taking it. So you guys, I know I got are any of you guys on the call tonight in Florida? Stephanie, Jeffrey, Jose, Kent, any of you in Florida?
No, I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, you're in Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, North Carolina has another issue. You got some issues out there? North Dakota, okay. But anyway, we have a lot of students in this class that I know that are in Florida because Rasmussen has about 5 or 6 campuses in Florida, from all the way down to Fort Myers up to Orlando. And so it's a real challenge for people. So I have students all over the United States. So, oh, you're originally from Mankato. Okay, we got some Twinkie people on the call here, right? I'm a Sox fan, but I got cousins up there in Minneapolis, in Hennepin County. Okay, all right. You can have those guys. And Yankees. Okay, I know about them. I grew up with Maris and Mantle, Casey Stengel, and all of those kind of people. So they used to make me sick because they always would win the pennants. But I like some of the players there. I love Derek Jeter, his class, you know, and there have been many others there as well. So anyway, yeah, so my cousins, they were musicians up there. They played with Prince. I knew Prince, Roger Nelson, that's his name. That was his name. He went to Central in Minneapolis. Um, I got a chance to see Janet Jackson, the people, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, who produced Control, uh, Morris Day and the Time, all these guys. I hung out and I went to Paisley Park, which is where Prince was living, and it was really nice and clean. He was a clean living young man. He had some issues, but anyway. So again, welcome. Too cold up there for me though, guys, in Minneapolis in the summer, in the winter rather. So, but I'll see you guys next week at 8:30 Central Standard Time on next Wednesday, and we'll be about an hour. So good night. And then if you have any questions about assignments, you know how to reach me and you know what to do. Don't hesitate. All right, guys. Yep, I agree. Stay safe and good night, guys.